Hey everyone, welcome back to Tivoli Zoo. It's been a while, which is probably the understatement of the year, and for good reason. It's been a year since I've had an episode out, actually a little over a year. But there's been a ton of work taking place to bring this episode to you. I've had to do a lot of little touch-up things all across the entire zoo. You'll see as we kind of progress. I don't know if we have any. Yeah, there's an example. I've got these punch list item signs kind of all over the place, and prior to this episode there was probably about 50 or 60 on the horizon over here that I've been able to knock out and complete, just little things that I wanted to either finish or change that I felt were necessary to really make this the finished product that it deserves to be. So this episode is really going to be more kind of a tour of where we are, what's complete. Some of the stuff, the changes and the additions are going to be really obvious. It'll be really difficult to capture every single thing that I did, but where it's obvious, I will try to put up a sort of a previous version of it, since it has been a while since many of you have probably watched an episode and don't recall what the zoo looked like before. So we're going to start off here where we left off the Peaks to Prairie episode, which is at the beginning. And I want to highlight this incredible sign from Christina. So if you remember, the original design of this was done by Lion when he was a guest builder in the file. And then I had asked Christina if there was any way to come up with like a 3D version of it. And she somehow miraculously made that happen. And it's absolutely incredible. I'm going to look at it at night real quick too, because I think it really looks great lit up. Yeah, so looks phenomenal. I could not have asked for a better addition to the zoo. In fact, it actually makes my little dinky signs here look pretty terrible. So got to figure out something there. It just looks amazing. So I've got this one over here, plus this one over here at the gift shop and entrance area. So great addition to this front entryway, and really, really thankful to have that. So one of the other additions is a great little detail, and most of this tour is going to be on pause just because my frame rate's getting pretty rough. But I'm going to hit play for a second here, and I think I'm by one of the speakers. And those of you who have a keen ear will probably recognize this voice. Sorry, quick little jump cut because the audio didn't start at the right spot, but...
Welcome to beautiful Tivoli Zoo. We're open daily from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. During your visit, please do not feed or attempt to touch any of the animals. Utilize the Tivoli Zoo app on your smartphone for information about our animal shows, exhibits, and dining options. Visit the Welcome Center for information about memberships, sponsorships, and group tours. Thank you for supporting Tivoli Zoo as we work here and around the world to improve our planet for wild animals, wild places, and future generations. Enjoy your day.
So that's audio, custom audio that's being played on all of these speakers near this entrance area over here. And so those of you who have that keen ear probably recognize that as John, aka Mass Bandit from Planet Bro Coaster. So he has got such like a great radio voice. I asked him to do it and he was kind enough to record that for me. And I think it's a nice little charming addition to the zoo. So other changes to this front area here. I tweaked these doors to make them these sliding glass doors. That's more true to the actual zoo. And I think it's a nice addition. It's much better than what I had before. Also, if you remember, I had on the base that kind of ugly red brick that came in the initial launch of the game, and replaced that with the limestone here just to make it look more like a concrete foundation of the building. Inside, nothing really changed other than I dropped the to drop the piece count. I replaced Ricey's air ducts with the ones that Haribo developed just because they saved thousands and thousands of pieces for the gift shop here, which already is jam-packed full of pieces, as you can tell. So nothing else is going to change. I know we technically have, like the functioning gift shops now. This still is functioning because people will come up to these stands here and buy stuff, and the coffee shop over there. I'm not touching this one bit. This is too good from Ricey, and I think it's an example of how creative people have been prior to getting some of those things in the game. So thank you again, Rice8, for this amazing gift shop, and it's not changing a single bit. So we'll head inside the zoo. We're going to start to the right. If you remember last time, this area was kind of looked like it was under construction intentionally. So it was kind of like a set piece. I ended up deciding to make it look finished and complete and just mimic the landscaping that Ricey and Wyatt had already done kind of in this area. Flipped around the stroller rental, so it's more true to how the actual zoo is now. And you've got these incredible little strollers from Ricey that are an option for you to rent. And then swinging around to this side, added some storage lockers. So if you wanted to drop some things here, you can rent a locker for the day and store your belongings. Grab a water or soda as you start your zoo tour. Inside here is not an exact replica of the quick service restaurant that's at the Denver Zoo. I didn't want to go too crazy with details here, but just wanted to again imply the realism of a zoo or of this space, which is actually kind of a perfect opportunity to talk about my vision for this project. I have a style that I call implied realism. So there are a lot of hyper realistic builders in this game who do stuff that I could never even dream of doing with some of the pieces. Haribo and Christina and Jash and Remnant, like all of those people come to mind for me, and they're incredible at what they do. But for me, I try to strike the balance of adding enough realism and set pieces that it feels like you're grounded in a real place. But also I try to adhere to the art style of Planet Zoo and Frontier, and also not try to fight the game too much, right? I'm going to try to build all of this within the confines of the game. I'll break the game here and there, but I really want it to be something that harmonizes with the game as much as possible. So coming over to this is the next really big change, and I'll put up a screenshot of what this looked like before. And it's now a functioning theater, which is amazing. So in order to make it function, I also felt like I needed to expand this area here where we actually have a little bit of a moat to prevent the animals and peeps from interacting with one another. But yeah, the peeps come down here and they check out the animal shows inside of the bleachers, which this has been such a great addition because they never really came back in this space. I know I could have put some of the waypoints or whatever, the vista points or things like that in here. I can't remember what they're called in this game. But this is a great way to get them to come back in this area. And then the other addition that is getting them back here are the changes that I made to what is now I'm going to just cut through here. In honor of our good friend Eben, his hospital. So I will be finding ways to honor all of the guest builders in this project. And I thought, knowing Eben's dedication to zoos and animal welfare and his passion there, what better thing to name after him than the zoo hospital. So wanted to pay some homage. Oh, I don't know what happened to, I'm just now realizing all of my landscaping is gone. So I must have deleted something. Whoops. I'll just go back and copy it and put it back in. But yeah, I used to have all kinds of landscaping in here. But bottom line, yeah, I can't think of a better way to honor Eben than to name this animal hospital after him. So one of the ways that I've been able to draw peeps up in this area as well is by finishing the interior of the hospital. So now it actually is a space that in theory, people would come in, they would be able to watch animal examinations, or if they're doing like a teeth cleaning or something like that, they would have the opportunity to come in and see the hospital staff and the keepers and the veterinarians working with the animals. It has a really nice strategically placed camera system too, so you can see above the bed in both rooms, and just general in the room. If you're kind of a wall full of people and you can't really see above anyone, you can still see on the monitors back there. I just tried to cram this space full of details as much as possible. I'm particularly proud of the oxygen tanks. And then some of this stuff, like these were workshop items. I'm not sure whose workshop, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Eben did the examination bed here, and then the rest of the stuff I just tried to copy from the in-game vet building. So you've got like the glove thing over here, and the sinks, and this table, and the little computer screen that they can use with the animals. And then the other thing, none of the rest of this building has an interior, but I wanted to make it look like it did, so I just tried to add a hallway behind all of these rooms where you can see through the glass and see that there is in theory a space behind. So I'm going to hop down here. So it's sunken in. You can see they have the ability to close off the 2 rooms if necessary, and then same thing, just additional storage and workspace over here for the staff. Really pleased with how these rooms came out. I think it totally sells the idea of the animal hospital. And then making our way down here, Eben was kind enough to help me out with some educational stuff, which would all be focused around the natural landscape and habitat areas of what would be the Denver Zoo or Tivoli Zoo in this case. And then coming down here is an amazing addition from Eben, this incredible little village, model that would be a great opportunity to provide education. So this would be kind of a space for group tours or zoo, school field trips, things like that, where they'd work with a zookeeper to come and learn and tour the zoo. Like these little hippo statues in the water are incredible. So many little details here. That would be a great opportunity for education. And then still have phenomenal views outside of this building to take a look at the African savanna. You got the skyline back there. And then even if you were kind of on a tour, you could check out an animal show from this perspective as well, which would be great. Actually, that's fine. Let's just hop down. All right, so I'm going to make my way back to the entrance. So I will cut real quick and see you there. Okay, I'm going to pause here actually because this is a reminder of one of those small details that isn't immediately obvious. I used to, when I first started playing the game, I would try to construct these habitats within the parameters of what the game wanted. So, having a certain shelter requirement, certain space requirement, all that kind of stuff, certain foliage even, which I've now obviously completely abandoned. And so because of that, I wanted to make these look more realistic. So I closed all of these large openings on these older habitats that would allow the animals to actually go into their backstage, and just made the exhibit entrance here behind these implied animal doors, which I think is a nice little detail and makes it feel much more grounded in reality. Did the same thing to the penguins and the polar bear over here as well. So we make our way down into the coastal expedition, and this is the first big major addition / change. There used to be just kind of a generic cover here where people could go up and see the polar bears, but this is intended in the master plan to be another one of those kind of education satellites where if you were on a group tour or if you were there with a field trip or something like that, you'd have an opportunity to get some additional time with zoo staff and get some additional education areas. And so you come inside, and you've got a little classroom here, which this stuff I just took from the amazing classroom that Haribo and Christina did in the Peaks to Prairie. Incredible signs from Ricey. You've got a projection system here where you could put up a slideshow if you needed to, or videos. You've got a first look inside of a front row look inside of the backstage area for the polar bears, plus a nice little viewing area outside as well. This stove is from Eben in the Asian Highlands area as well. So very pleased with this addition. I think it really rounds out this whole area nicely. The other big change is over here. So again, I just want to touch on that I added in different door system. You can kind of see it back there. So it used to be this, there we go. It used to be this massive opening where the polar bears could actually go into that backstage, and now it just is implied instead. So definitely a better version, I think, than how it was before. Certainly feels more realistic. I don't know if I can go into the water here. Oh no. Come on. Yes, okay. All right, so the other big addition is this over here. So this cover for this incredible stadium seating that Wyatt finished off for me. If you remember, prior to him, his kindness, this was just kind of an unfinished mess, and he made it look great. And then I felt like I needed a little something extra, so put these covers above for people to be able to enjoy the show and hopefully escape from some sunlight and some heat and maybe even the elements if that's what's happening. And then down below, I'm gonna go underneath, because the only thing I really changed here, it's not much, but I did change the underwater viewing. So you can see I added in this kind of colored concrete where it feels more realistic for the for this kind of space, and then added in a lot of this faux rock work where it would make the islands above feel more realistic, especially as you're coming down below. And then just some cool areas for the sea lions to swim. And then added an additional viewing area over here to check out the seals if you wanted to go under there. So just try to make it a little more functional. You know, if they're going to take the time and money to build something like that, chances are they would have made it for both of those habitats. So coming in here, the big changes here are, and I can't remember if I did this in the last couple episodes or not, but I closed this in. It was mesh before. And I think, you know, food right here, sea lions, food, sea lions, probably a good idea to close it in, not only to prevent people from trying to put food in there with the animals, but also just the smell. So that's much more complete and secure, I think. And then huge shout out to Carlos. This incredible orca skeleton is brand new. He redid the one that I used to have up here. And I think it looks amazing in this space. And then below that is some additional details from Eben, this incredible canoe, and then just some educational stuff over here. So you have the Haida house over here, and or is it Taiga? I can't remember. It's been so long. Either way, you've got some additional educational stuff over here, and then he did also help me fix my horrendous pond, which was supposed to be a salmon exhibit. So that looks much better as well. Okay, so cruising right along. The next area to take a look at is the Tropical Discovery. So not too much changed in here. You know, we've got some stroller parking out front, which is great. And then the big change was to this particular habitat over here. If you remember before, I had mesh here and then mesh above, and I was having problems, one, with the animals escaping, and then two, it just didn't give you a good view into the habitats down below. And so you have glass all on the bottom, and then these custom nets or custom mesh fencing from Remnant, the work that he did in the Peaks to Prairie exhibit. And so really pleased with how all that turned out. I'm gonna actually, let's hit play so we can get a little bit of the mist going inside of the Tropical Discovery here. Yeah, that's better. So one thing I'll show you in a second, I did try to fix and change, is adding the sloth exhibit to this area. So the Denver Zoo, I can't remember if it was recent or not, but there's kind of a fake tree here with some vines all over it, and then tucked up above here is a place where the sloths can actually go and get away from the crowd if they want, but occasionally they will crawl out onto some of the vines in the trees, and there's a little sign right here that says look up, and you look up and there you go, and there's a sloth right above you. I tried to make that exhibit work in this space, but I just couldn't get it to function. It was just a little too big. So I don't know if it's something that, you know, someone like Goron could break the game for me and make work, but I just couldn't make it happen. So nothing's changed here. I still have these janky fake fish inside the tropical reefs. And then nothing's changed back there either with the Komodo dragons. So that's pretty much the changes for the Tropical Discovery here. And then if we make our way Down this direction, we've got no major changes to this actual habitat over here. Other than I had to tweak some things to make this bridge still function. For whatever reason, it stopped working, and now it is thankfully working again. There's still nothing cooler than watching the tigers walk across that thing. But the big change was adding a way for there to be access for like a skid steer or some kind of small machinery if they ever needed to come in here and do work on the actual habitat itself. And then that leads us into the changes with the backstage. So this whole area was kind of just a mess. It had some blockings of where buildings should go, but nothing was really finished. And so now you've got an area to care for the tigers on both sides to handle both sides of that exhibit. And then one of my favorite little details as we make our way up the backstage here are just these support structures for the fake mountain on the other side in the Asian highlands habitat. Plus the breeze blocks or whatever they're called, it's just purely utilitarian. There's no need for anything to look nice back here. And then making our way a little bit further, this whole area, if you remember, and I'll put up a screenshot, is it was kind of an underground holding pen for the camels and Przewalski's horses, and I just felt like this was the right call. I mean, I love the idea of an underground holding, but it was really difficult and time consuming to try to make it look realistic, and this was again the right balance between realism and not bashing my head against the wall. So I've got a nice barn here with some pens or paddocks or whatever you want to call them that lead to a really functional space to take care of those animals. So you've got the ability to drive some heavy equipment into the exhibit if you wanted to, and then move the animals around as needed. There we go. All right, so I'm going to swing around to the front here. Yeah, let's do that. So no major changes here. Let's go, before we look at the front view, let's go look back here. So we had some backstage work that needed to be done. So this whole area back here was pretty much unfinished. Now you have a functional backstage where you can access support the buildings that are in the coastal exhibit or coastal exhibition. You've got support structure for I think this is some of the coastal exhibition, and then also would be support structure for the snow leopards that are over there. And then up here, you've got all of the support structure for Predator Ridge, the Dholes, I think it's the Sloth Bear and the Binturong up there, or maybe it's the Sun Bear. I can't remember which one we have. But just tried to pepper these things with lots of bits and bobs and stuff that would imply it's a functional working space for the zoo, and that they have a lot of materials and things that they would need to help care for the animals. The other backstage area we'll cut through down here that needed to be done is behind the snow leopards and the sea eagle area. So go through here. Whoa. Yep, there's our snow leopard. You can see it's a total mess. Here's where we would have, this is for the otter, the sea otter. And then here's our other backstage area. So again, just additional kind of odds and ends all over the place to give the implication that it's, or to imply that it's a working space. And then here, actually I'm going to cheat again. I don't want you to see. There's a cooler view from down this direction, so sorry if the camera's making you nauseous. Okay, so from here, let's look backwards. Got our awesome view of the mountains, which one of my favorite views in the zoo from Carlos. You come up here, you can start to see the Asian highlands. And if you remember, this habitat before had a bunch of, it was just kind of the painted grass that was the ground texture. And that was before we had a lot of these amazing foliage pieces that really gave the appearance of a mixture of grasses and ground textures. So just tried to add those everywhere I could. Also added this water down here so that they had something to drink from. and just felt like it would be more of a functional piece and something that they would have added in this low-lying area here. So yeah, really pleased with how this looks, especially because it's a relatively small exhibit, but it does feel, I think it feels big because of the way that Eben kind of scaled these rocks back here on the horizon, and then the impression that maybe the second layer of different colors is kind of a mountain range further in the distance. And then I actually love little things like this where the backstage building kind of pokes out behind the scenery. I know there's some people that would probably want to hide all of that, but I like some of that immersion breaking to, again, just kind of remind you that you're in a zoo. So yeah, this whole area completely wrapped up. I love it. I'm very, very happy with this whole trail. And speaking of this whole trail, there's going to be that's how I'm going to honor Wyatt, and you'll see more of that in probably not the next episode, but the episode after. I'm working on something for him there. So no changes to this area, although just to refresh your memory, I gotta come in here because of how freaking good this is from Ricey. This quick service restaurant is incredible. This is like a 1-to-1 of how it is in real life. If anyone's been to the Denver Zoo, this is like exact. And then I still love this area. I mean, this is probably my favorite little scene area in the entire project. This seating area with the restrooms and the stadium or the amphitheater for the elephant show. It just is one of my favorite things in the entire project. So making our way down here, Eben and I were talking about maybe putting in an education satellite here where you would be able to see into this habitat through this rock wall, which I think was a great idea. He had no motivation, and I was having a hard time making it come to fruition. So the timing of it worked out because that's right when the in-game gift shops launched, and so I decided just to go ahead and turn this into a gift shop to promote that. And so, yeah, this is a functional gift shop. You can see our peeps are in here. We've got some of the plushies from Keyboard Keeper for all the animals that are in this sort of region of the zoo, and really pleased with how this one came out. Continuing on, the other sort of things I needed to tidy up were this space here. So you've got a nice rest area that's kind of in this place where these paths all converge together on the main thoroughfare, opportunity for people to take a load off in the shade. And then up here had another space that needed to be filled in. And I didn't feel like doing anything theming would make sense because it's kind of, you've got the African savanna over here, you've got the Toyota Elephant Passage over here. And so I wanted to just go with just a generic zoo structure for a restroom. And that's exactly what this is. So nothing special, but I do think it looks great. It's totally generic zoo type building. Worked on filling in a lot of these other details. So I completed all the fencing, put in mesh where it made sense so people wouldn't try to climb through fences. And a lot of those types of details. So I think this is a good spot for me to stop for this half of the tour. So this will be one episode, and don't worry, you don't have to wait forever for another one because I'm going to record the second half right now. But thank you guys so much for all of your support. I know it's been a long time coming for this video, so if you're still here, you're still sticking around, you still like Tivoli Zoo, I really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the second half of this tour. Thanks.